one of the most famous, perhaps unfortunately for him, images of François Hollande is, of course, from 5 years ago when, during his inauguration, it absolutely bucketed it down, and he was in an open-top car on the Champs-Élysées in a very wet suit. We are now expecting, as you say, Emmanuel Macron to accompany François Hollande to his car. And for him to leave the Élysée Palace for the last time as president, at least. And it's been, I think everyone would acknowledge, a difficult presidency for François Hollande. Of course, he stood on a fairly leftist ticket 5 years ago. In the end, that wasn't the direction that his administration took, and in the end, that's perhaps what split it apart, and also ended up splitting apart the Socialist Party's inability to reconcile what he saw as the need for liberal economic reforms with the opinions of people on the left of his party, people like Benoît Hamon. And also, of course, it's been a tumultuous 5 years for France. I mean, it's been years in which have been characterised really by a series of horrific terror attacks. I don't think anybody thinks that François Hollande did a bad job in terms of his response to those. The way he spoke was very much keeping the nation together, but it was, of course, a very difficult thing for him to manage. And then, of course, there is the issue of the handover, the narrative that was written for France, perhaps, and one which France perhaps wrote for itself up until about a year ago, was that Marine Le Pen, the far-right candidate, would make it through to the second round of the presidential election, and that the only person likely to beat her would be from the centre-right Les Républicains Party. In the end, something very different happened when Emmanuel Macron emerged onto the scene. And I think as François Hollande leaves the Élysée Palace, he might have a kind of thought in the back of his head that, well, there were worse people than Emmanuel Macron for me to hand over to.
Chris, one of the novelties of what we're witnessing, there's a lot of continuity, we've mentioned it before in the protocol. One of the novelties is that the ceremony is taking place on a Sunday. You've just described to us the tumultuous 5 years we've had, which, of course, bled into a tumultuous campaign. The streets of Paris quiet this Sunday. It really is something new to have this ceremony taking place on a Sunday.
Certainly is, yes, you would say. So the streets around the Élysée this morning were certainly relatively busy. Some people queuing up outside the Élysée to get a glimpse of Emmanuel Macron, and I think we could expect more of the same later in the day. So it's a long day for Mr. Macron. There's the 21-gun salute which will take place here, and it's the Arc de Triomphe and the parade down the Champs-Élysées. We're hoping that it doesn't rain on him as it did on François Hollande. And then he's got to meet the Paris mayor later in the day. As you say, it's the first time it's happened on a Sunday. This was the latest possible occasion which could take place in terms of François Hollande's mandate running out.